What's up, guys? I'm Jason, aka Captain Nasty, your muscle captain. Welcome back to Anchored in Muscle Radio, episode 12. And today, guys, I've been promoting this. This is huge for us. It's special. We have a special guest on with us today, John Gorman, owner of Team Gorman, gym owner of Phat Muscle Project, host of the TNT podcast, published author. You have 2 books out now, The Metabolic Capacity and Reverse Dieting, The Flexible Fat Loss Solution, First Phorm Elite Trainer, and Gripped Fitness Athlete. Now, I'm sure that there is something else, John, that I am missing here. You know, fill in the gaps for us. I mean, how many people have you got contest wins for? I mean, just fill in the gaps of where this bio ends.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the intro, man. I appreciate having me on the show. First of all, I really appreciate that. Just one other thing I wanted to mention that's important is that I co-own the Physique Summit conference with Cliff Wilson, very good friend of mine. And that's a conference that we host every single year. And we bring in the top researchers, diet coaches, and bodybuilders in the industry. And we present for 2 days. We have CEUs. We have a lot of fun. So that's every year. We're about to announce the speakers and the dates for 2018. We're going to announce that in February. But I do co-own that with Cliff Wilson. So that's one thing I wanted to mention because it's definitely a passion of mine. It's something that we're trying to grow, and it's just going. This is our 4th year coming up, and It's just growing off the charts.
I'm a huge fan of Cliff. Also, I'm going to see if I can get Cliff to come on with us in the future at some point too. I was hoping to meet him back in July, but he had a spot to speak, and then you know how crazy it gets up there. I didn't get a chance to talk to him. So, man, you know, we'll get into it. I'm happy to have you on. What we were talking about before we started recording was, you know, the niche that I work in, the people I try to work with are in the maritime fields, any related fields in their family. And what we were going to talk about today is metabolic adaptation, because what we find in most cases is due to the sleep patterns, due to the work schedule, the stresses of the job. What we find in most cases, we have literally seen, I've helped people before, a male of 330 pounds. When I calculated what type of intake he actually had going in, it was right around 1,000, maybe 1,100 calories a day at 330 pounds and still gaining weight. And what you end up finding is a lot of these guys are having only one large meal a day. And what I keep trying to tell them is, you know, you guys, you have to get out of this. You have to get on some sort of a regular schedule, and you have to meet your daily calorie intake needs, or your metabolism is going to begin to slow down, and your body is designed to store fat to keep you alive. So, you know, who better to bring on to talk to these guys about this than you? I definitely share your content and talk about your books and your teaching all the time. There's no better way than to get you on to talk about this type of situation and what you see, and not only competitors, but also the general population as well.
Yeah. So first of all, that's a very common scenario. I mean, if we think about it, Weight Watchers I don't think Weight Watchers are going to come after us on your podcast for throwing them under the bus. So let's just fucking throw them under the bus.
There you go. We'll have some fun.
Right. Weight Watchers, think of the 300-pound female. And I know because I have people in my family that are in this situation. They're 300 pounds. They eat Weight Watchers, and they're eating like 1,000 calories a day, and they end up fatter every single year. And what people don't realize is when they're only eating 1,000 calories, and especially when they're not exercising, which I know we'll get into, when you're only eating 1,000 calories, your metabolism is so slow. When you do go to the birthday party, when you do go to the graduation, when you just have a cheat meal, it sticks to you as fat a hell of a lot easier because your body's only used to 1,000 calories. Exactly. And that's the problem everywhere. So what we have to do, and this is why I wrote that first book, Metabolic Capacity and Reverse Dieting, we have to understand how the metabolism works and why it's so crucial to fat loss. Because most people think just eat low calories and that's going to get it off. But at some point, it slows your metabolism so much that fat gain becomes easier, and it just becomes this whole convoluted mess. So I know we'll get into the details, but that's the common situation. Some of the first steps I do to correct that are, first of all, everything is, I like the word anchored, first of all. I love that. Everything is anchored in weight training because that puts lean muscle on people. which helps speed up your metabolism, but it also helps you start eating more, which speeds up your metabolism. So now you have to eat more than 1,000 calories. It speeds your metabolism up. The weight training speeds your metabolism up. Then your body starts losing fat, and you're able to keep it off a lot better.
Exactly right. And that's exactly what I try to tell my guys all the time. Now, what are your thoughts on meal timing and meal frequency when you start thinking about, just like what you were saying, needing to get in those calories, needing to get those the training in, because from where I'm coming from, each time that they have a meal, they have the proper portion of protein, they're going to get a little boost. I like to describe it to them like an old steam engine. You got to stoke that fire every few hours to increase that metabolic rate. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. 24 hours a day, we're trying to find different tactics to do that.
Right. So it's much better to have smaller meals spaced out than to eat one large meal. And mainly because protein should be the base of every single meal. Protein turns on muscle growth. It's called protein synthesis, but it's muscle growth. So it turns that on. So when you're weight training, you want to turn muscle growth on so you can repair your muscle tissue and get more muscle. So every meal should have a base of protein. The minimum amount of meals I like to see someone eat a day are 3 meals and then a post-workout shake. So you're looking at 4 feedings a day. Exactly. And that also gives you 4 boosts in your metabolism, because each time you eat, you turn on leptin, which is a hormone that speeds up your metabolism, but you get a small boost in your metabolism. Now, there's a point of diminishing returns. If so, people would just eat every hour on the hour and speed their metabolism up. It doesn't work that way. But it does provide a better boost in your metabolism to spread out all your calories in 4 meals, 5, 6 meals versus just 1 meal a day.
Exactly. And you know, we could get so deep down the rabbit hole. A lot of times what I try to tell them is you also have to consider the fact of, you know, what type of carbohydrates you're taking in with that protein on each meal, and then how much, because you want to be able to break it down. Your body's only going to be able to handle so much at any one given time. But it's just like I was listening to one of the TNT podcasts, you know, talking about trying to cram all your calories into one meal at the same time. You really do need to space that stuff out. And what you're trying to do, is it not what you're trying to do? The whole goal in this strategy would be to try to give your metabolism and your metabolic rate a little boost, and trying to boost it up the whole way.
Yeah. And the other thing too is, I mean, you also want to slowly keep feeding, not slowly, but every, 3 or 4 or 5 hours, feed your body protein, feed it nutrients. First of all, give it energy so it can get through the rest of the day, because if you're going to go work out, and like, I'm real, I hate leg day. Like, I hate that shit with a passion. And if I only ate 1 meal a day, let me tell you, I'd be dragging the rest of the day. So you need to give your body energy just to get throughout the day. I mean, your brain burns through so many carbohydrates alone. It's like 80 to 100 grams a day. I read somewhere. Like, you need carbs and meals, just nutrients for your brain. So, I mean, people need to get away from the 1 meal a day and just go with periodic feedings about every 4 or 5 hours.
Right. Now we're talking about how in that situation, they may already be in the hole, if you will, with some type of metabolic adaptation, a slowed metabolism, for lack of a better term. Now, what do you typically see? What do you typically see people do when they decide that they need to go on a diet? And what we're trying to tell them to do is they need to increase their metabolism, but what do they actually normally do? It seems to me, in my experience, they normally make it worse if they don't have someone to guide them in the right direction. And that's exactly what we're here trying to do.
Yeah. So normally, say if someone's eating 1,000 calories, they're not exercising, and then all of a sudden they just start throwing exercise. Usually it's going to be a lot of cardio right out of the gate. And they're also going to throw some weights in a few times a week. Excuse me. That's going to be on 1,000 calories. You're not exercising. Now all of a sudden your calorie levels for the day are lower because you just went and burned 400 in the gym and then maybe 100 doing cardio. So now you're looking at 500 calories a day that your body's trying to run off of. Your metabolism at some point is going to be like, listen, asshole, I don't want you to do this to me. And it becomes so stubborn, and it adapts to having less fuel to use just to survive, because our body does not care about being ripped. It definitely does not want to be muscular, right? Because muscle burns a lot of calories. It wants to store fat. And when you start putting it into this environment, this kind of honestly, it's a dangerous environment. Whenever you're super low calorie, your body's going to fight back and it's going to store fat a lot easier and it's going to slow the metabolism down. So it's just going to fight against people. The biggest problem is so then if they're eating 1,000 calories and they just leave their calories the same when they start dieting or they start cardio and workouts, they try that for a while.
And they want to cut their food too. They always want to cut the food. I'm just going to salads.
Yeah. If they do
double whammy.
Either way, their calories are lowering. Right. You can only keep that up for so long. So then when they're done, they just lose it and they go eat everything in sight. But their metabolism is so slow from what they've been doing that they gain fat back even easier. And that's the scary thing. They're slowing their metabolism down so much, they're gaining more fat after they're done dieting. So that's why you see ladies and Weight Watchers, they get fatter every year because they keep their metabolism so slow. They gain fat a lot easier when they go eat the burger and they go eat the extra stuff.
And don't you also in that situation, okay, if they were in that situation, they're eating 1,000, 1,100 calories a day and they're still slowly putting on fat and they decide that they're going to go out and start a training program out of the gate tomorrow and they're going on nothing but salads tomorrow and they start all this cardio, then you got to get into worrying about muscle loss as well, which is going to even only lend itself to reducing their metabolic rate even further.
Right. So that's the thing. People need to increase their calories.
Exactly.
And first of all, I do want to stick up for the person that we're talking about here, the people, because most people, they just think they're doing the right thing. I get it. Shit, I've done it. So first of all, like, we're not calling anyone stupid.
No.
They're just right. They're just doing what they think. But that's why we're doing this podcast. So we can help them do it the right way. Mm-hmm. So the best thing to do is start either slowly increasing their calories, maybe 200. If someone's eating 1,000 and it's a lady, maybe you jump up to 12 or 1,300. If you're a guy, you can jump up more because you have more muscle mass. Maybe you jump up from 1,000 to like 1,700, 1,800, and then you slowly start increasing. And that's a whole other podcast in itself.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh.
But what people are going to see, they're going to start putting muscle on, and they're going to gain weight, and they're going to freak out. So that's where the scale has to go out the window.
Exactly.
Like they have to, because they're just putting on lean muscle mass. They're not going to gain. A female eating 1,000 calories that jumps up to 1,300, she's not going to gain fat from that. But she's definitely going to be able to gain muscle from it slowly.
Well, even getting properly hydrated is going to put some numbers on the scale. If they start weight training, they get properly hydrated and properly fed, they're going to start putting a little bit of numbers on the scale. So you're exactly right. If you're a slave to the scale, this is something that's going to take some work.
Yeah, especially when somebody starts eating carbs and they haven't been eating a lot of carbs. And those carbs store in your muscle with water. So if someone that's new to weight training, or if they just haven't done it a long time, as soon as you start training, you have inflammation, right? So you hold water. You have soreness in your muscle. You hold water there. The carbs you eat store in the muscle, so they're fuller. It's not bad weight, but it's definitely weight that someone's going to gain, and they have to not let the scale mess with them, especially the first 3 to 4 weeks. I notice it a lot. After that starts to taper off.
Right. Now, of course, when I ask you this question, I know this is a loaded question, but I just kind of want to give people an idea. Now, I know you work with a lot of competitive physique athletes. Now, in that situation that we were talking about, a low of 1,000 calories a day, just for an idea, okay? Because I have an idea, but I want to hear what you have to say. What would you consider low, even for a physique athlete? Like if you have a normal male, because in that situation, what we're talking about, somebody's eating only 1,000 calories a day. Now, how low would you typically, what would get you worried for one of your physique athletes? And they're trying to get to a level of leanness that's completely, insane. I mean, it could be argued if it's healthy for long term or not to get show lean. I mean,
This is the topic. This is the thing that people try and coach bodybuilders to stage.
So much.
They should never be. There's a lot of people that coach that shouldn't be coaching because they don't understand this metabolic dynamic. So with guys, I won't even work. If they come to me on low calories and want to do a show, I don't even work with them. I don't take their money because I don't want to fuck them up. Like, I don't want that on me. Their health is more important. But my job is I'll find, like, say you were going to diet and you were eating 1,600 calories, right? And I knew you needed 20 pounds to get to stage. So I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to get you to up your calories, and I'm going to spend 3, 4, 5, 6 months upping your calories, putting a little muscle on, and priming your metabolism. Then your body's used to, say, 2,500 calories. Mm-hmm. Then when it's time to diet for a show, I'll start chipping away at those 2,500 calories. But if you came to me eating 1,700 to start, I don't have a lot of room to go. And to get 20 pounds off you, you're going to do a shit ton of cardio, and I'm going to get you down to really low calories. I won't take a guy. I've never taken a guy below 1,500 calories in my life, ever. I just won't do it. I'll talk him out of doing the show if he has to go there. But typically, I do a really good job on my end of priming their metabolism and giving me enough calories to work from for the duration of the diet. So with a guy, I typically try and get them to 2,500 to over 3,000, just depending. Everybody's so different. Right. And I might get them as low as 1,700 or 1,800 to finish the diet, but everyone's low is different. And then with females, commonly I'll get them up to 2,000 calories a day on average. That's pretty good for a female. And I'll get a female down to 1,200 calories because by the time they're getting to stage, they're weighing 120 pounds. They're eating 1,200 calories. That's 10 times the body weight. Sometimes you just have to go there. 1,200 to me isn't that low for a short amount of time.
Right.
But it's when someone's eating 1,200 calories for months and months, that's what screws them up.
Well, exactly. Well, the reason why I asked you that question was if we have somebody that we come across in general population who is already eating that low, that may be what I would tell them. I was like, look, you are already this low. You wouldn't, if you were a competitive athlete, you wouldn't want to get that low. That's exactly why I was trying to ask you that.
Right.
Because I was wondering, I always try to teach them that your body has its own safety mechanism. It's got a safety net where it's going to start fighting you and you're not going to get any lower.
Right. So yeah, it's going to. And I know people will say, well, if you just add cardio and drop calories, eventually someone has to drop. Mm-hmm. I can tell you right now, I have a lot of clients that I'm really close with, and I've seen them go real low calories with other coaches. They will not, their body is like, fuck you, I'm done. Like it will not let go of any body fat. It'll let go of weight though. Weight and body fat are two different things.
Exactly.
But yeah, long story short, sometimes if someone has to get down to 1,200 for a show or 1,000 for a short amount of time, if that's what they have to do to get to that conditioning, good. But Gen Pop, the mom that needs to lose 25 pounds, she doesn't need to get down to 1,000 calories and maintain that for a long time. She should be able to work it off in the gym, use cardio, and use like a carb cycling approach and just diet to be able to get it off. Like she doesn't need to get to bikini level leanness.
Right. Well, that's exactly why I asked you that question, to give people an idea of, what would be that alarm stage for that general population person. Now, we kind of touched on this as we were talking about metabolic adaptation. Now, if you were that person, we were touching on increasing your calories. Now, how would you approach that? And I heard you touch on 10 times body weight. Now, how would you go about walking them up out of this situation where they've had this metabolic adaptation and it's slowed down from a nutrition standpoint?
Yeah, so that's exactly what I wrote the whole book about. Exactly. I've written articles. They're free. I've written a free article on my website. Right. It's team-gorman.net. If someone just wants to look up reverse dieting, John Gorman, either one, it's a free step system on how you can do it. Just because I want people to understand their metabolism. So basically, I'll use a 1,200 calorie example.
Yeah, just so
say Leslie is eating 1,200 calories, and I know I need to increase to boost her metabolism. I'm normally going to add carbs, but most of the time I'm going to add anywhere from 50 to 100 calories every week or so. And as long as that person's not cheating on the diet and they're not going out eating extra calories, I'm able to normally increase about every week for up to 8 to 12 weeks to get, that girl on 1,200 calories up to 16, 17, 1,800, maybe 2,000. But it's a process where you have to watch.
Exactly.
Some people will gain rapidly, and you have to add maybe every 10 days, maybe every 14 days, or maybe you only add 40 or 50 calories, not 100 calories. So you have to kind of play with it because we all have different DNA and genetics. So, but on average, 50 to 100 calories I can add about every week or two and just slowly start ramping up. And mostly it's going to come from carbs. Mm-hmm. If not, I'm going to make sure someone's protein is in a good place, first of all, and fats are in a good place, which we can talk about how much I think each person should have. But
go for it, man. Because what you're talking about with the protein is you're going to base the protein off your lean muscle tissue. That's what you're getting. So it's going to be pretty static, and then you're going to be playing with the ratios of the carbs and fats.
Yeah. So exactly. And fats, I'll just start with fats. Most people, females, guys, need to get anywhere from 50 grams of fat or more a day. So females, I like to get them up to 50. And fats are so important because they are an energy source, but most importantly, they're very important for hormone production. Guys, testosterone, things of that nature. Ladies, their hormones are freaking all over the place, right? So the last thing they want is a low-fat diet approach ever. So I like to get them to 40, 50 grams of fat a day as well. So I get that done. So 40, 50 grams of fat for a lady, 50 or more for a guy. And protein, I at least for Gen Pop, base it off somewhere from, a pound a gram of protein for a pound of what they weigh. So like a 200-pound guy, 200 grams of protein a day would work. So you can base it off lean mass, but most people in the Gen Pop realm, they don't know their lean mass. So I can tell you right off the bat, I could take any lady and have her eat 150 grams of protein a day, and she's going to be just fine. Just fine. It's like the really small ladies that can't handle that much. But 150 grams of protein a day is pretty easy to get in when somebody drinks shakes between meals and things like that. But anywhere from 120 to 150 grams of protein a day for females. And then guys, at least 180 grams a day, upwards to 250 grams a day if you're a really big guy with a lot of muscle mass. So, protein's super important. And then get those two set and then start adding carbs.
Right. But what you're getting at is the way that you are effectively speeding up their metabolism is you are in a stair-step fashion, in a slow process, working their calories up over time. And I believe you said you like to get them to at least 10 times body weight before you even consider a diet. And then what you're actually doing here is you're reverse dieting in a sense is what you're doing here. And,
right.
and they've all heard these terms, the infomercials and everything they see out there online. They've heard these terms, but I wanted to walk them into this and then tell them this is reverse dieting. That's what that is.
Right. So it's 10 times body weight's low. So if someone ends on 10 times the body weight, that's okay. But I want to try and get them up to, 12, 13, 14 times their body weight, depending on the person. But yeah, 10 times is low. So, 120-pound girl is 1,200 calories. Right. I don't want to diet someone from there. So yeah, you just step it up because your body adapts. It adapts on the way down when you diet. Your metabolism gets slower as you eat less calories. It adapts on the way back up. So if I take a female from 100 carbs to 120 next week, her metabolism is going to adapt to that because it's a small increase. So the next week I might take her to 140 carbs, and the next week to 150 or 160, and it slowly adapts because it's in these small stair steps. But if I took a female from 100 carbs to 250 carbs in 1 week, that's not fat. Like their metabolism can't adapt to it that fast, and they're going to gain some fat from that. So that's why it's in smaller increments.
Right, and it also depends on the person and how well, because it's what I try to tell everybody. The reason why everything's so difficult is we are so much individuals, and it really depends on so many factors. We can give general principles, but you have to work with someone one-on-one every day to play with it and adjust it outright. So when you get them up as high, what is your marker for deciding when it's time for them to diet? Whenever they consistently start to put on fat every week?
No, that's when I usually stop adding food. The best marker is how much time someone has spent away from dieting. So I can get someone's calories up pretty quick in 8 weeks, but if they just dieted for 6 months,
true.
So they dieted for 6 months and then I get their calories up for 8 weeks, their metabolism's been slowing down for 6 months. 2 months isn't enough time to restore hormones and to help speed the metabolism up. So I like to tell people like a 1-to-1 ratio. If you dieted for 6 months, take 6 months away from dieting. That way, when you go to diet again, your body is not used to low calories. So then if a female gets up to 2,000 calories for 6 months, she's used to that. Then when you go to pull her calories down, she should be able to drop some fat. But I've seen people need a year, 2 years, 3 years off. It all depends on how much dieting history they have. Right. And the longer the dieting history, the harder fat loss is, the more time they need to take away from that shit.
Right. I mean, and what you're saying is what we see even in the general population, someone who they've dieted for a long time and then they fell off or they gave up and they yo-yo. They begin to yo-yo and they spend a whole lifetime, maybe years and years of time in a constant state of dieting. Essentially what you're saying. Now, now talk to us a little bit about the reason why you're trying to get these calories up so high. Is that not so you have a lot of room to gently then reduce those calories when it gets time to start cutting fat?
Right. So think of the calories. Yeah. The calories you eat, that's like gas in a gas tank. So like if you and I were in New York and we needed to drive all the way to Florida, right? We know we need to stop and fill up our gas tank 3 times to get all the way there, right? We know we have to get enough gas, 3 tankfuls of gas to get from New York all the way down to Florida. Calories are the same way when it comes to fat loss. So if someone knows they need to lose 40 pounds, they don't have enough gas. 1,200 calories is not enough gas in the gas tank. They're going to get from New York and they're going to get about halfway there before they run out of gas, right? Calories are their metabolism. That's their gas in their gas tank to get their fat loss off. You have to have enough built up metabolic capacity. Your metabolism has to be sped up enough to get you from New York to Florida, to get you from 40 pounds or 0 pounds to 40 pounds lost. That's the whole way people have to think about it. The calories they have to work with and their metabolism is what lets fat loss come off. If it were just as easy as just sticking to 1,000 calories a day, I'd sit here and have abs, and I don't have abs, man. So I'm just telling you, it's not math, right? If it were as easy as cutting calories, if this was a math problem, I'd be fucking shredded right now. I wouldn't have, fat rolls.
Right. No, now we've talked about how to bump your calories up over time. We've discussed a little bit how to gently bring those calories back down. Now I know we don't like to say any food is there's no bad food, but in general, what are your thoughts? And because a lot of times we may see in my line of work, we see that man food, there's not a lot of greens and there's not a lot of veggies in there. So what are your thoughts on these different micronutrients and the effect that they have on? I know we can't get too deep scientific, but what I try to tell them, if you want your body to run like a fine-tuned machine, you have to give it the materials that it needs, and it's not only proteins, carbs, and fats.
So I'm going to throw something out there.
There you go.
And I'm not going to whore products out because I'm not selling this right now. But this is called Microfactor. But let me get back to this because I don't eat very good. Like I just don't eat clean. I don't eat great. I don't eat a lot of vegetables. But I do take things like Microfactor, which gives you all kinds of, there's probiotics in this. You've got micronutrients that you need. It's basically a vitamin complex. That's official. I take this because I don't eat a lot of the healthy food that I need to eat to get it because I just don't fucking like that food. And we've always been told you need to eat this to be healthy. Well, guess what? If it's not sustainable, it's not going to work. And that's the way we have to look at diet, right? So my thing with my clients, I've had people get shredded eating ice cream 3 times a day. Matter of fact, Leno Robinson that won the first Phorm transformation contest, he lost so much fat. He was eating stuff like that. It's most of it's about the calories that you take in. A carb is a carb, sort of. They're not going to impact fat loss, but the biggest thing when it comes to food is if you can stick to it long term and get all the way through the diet, that's all I care about. I'm not going to judge somebody that wants to have baked chips versus eating brown rice. Like if they hate brown rice, they're not gonna be able to stick to it. It's not gonna fucking work. So that's the main thing. But I do take things like Microfactor and a multivitamin.
I take my greens. Microfactor every day. The OptiGreens 50 Microfactor, 100% first Phorm all the way with us. I have it every day. I tell our guys, I cannot stress enough how important getting these micronutrients, your trace elements in. If you want your body, your metabolism is every chemical process that goes on inside your body. And if you want all those functions happening the way they're supposed to happen, and you want to be healthy, then you damn sure better be getting those nutrients in somehow. Right. The spinach makes me want to vomit just to smell it cooking. So I'm exactly with you. But I'm gonna take my multivitamin like religion every day.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So, 50 carbs from low-fat ice cream or 50 carbs from brown rice. Your body breaks those down. It understands to turn them to glucose. It understands to use it as fuel. It doesn't know one came from a carton and one was organic. You know what I'm saying? Your body just knows glucose. That's all it knows. So a lot of people demonize foods and they think, if I eat low-fat ice cream on a diet, I'm not going to be able to lose fat. But that's not true. You have 50 carbs to work from with each one. If eating the ice cream lets somebody stick to their diet without cheating, great. Most people try and eat brown rice, and they try and eat the clean foods all the time, and they make it for a certain point in time before they just blow it. And as soon as they blow it, then they're like, fuck it, I'm off the rails all week.
And then it's 1 week, and before you know it, I'll start back next week, next Monday. Exactly. It's always on a Monday.
What happens if you cheat on the diet on Tuesday? I'll eat shit all week.
Now you got to start over for the next Monday, right?
Yeah, so it's called flexible dieting. Right. Like, we know the term.
Right.
Flexible dieting, dude, that has been so good for my clients mentally and with getting results. It's the number one thing that I've changed the way I diet people since 2010. It's the number one game changer that I've started using.
And that's exactly of your other book, The Flexible Fat Loss Solution. Look, I'll hold it up for the camera. I'm going to put some
that's a sexy dude on the camera there, man. He doesn't have a beard, but
man, I tell you what, I'm such a reader. I read and research this stuff. I'm the highlighter king. My kids like to laugh at me because I've got a highlighter. I'm highlighting all the
because we're old,
points.
Dude. We're old school.
And I'll even try to make some screen share videos where I go over and I put the references out there and discuss these highlighted points, trying to teach everybody. Now we've covered a lot of ground here. Now I do. Now we want to talk about lifting weights now. Now, where's this person need to go when it comes to training? Because in my mind, the foundation of any exercise program, if you want to lose fat, you need to build muscle or at least make active the muscle tissue that you currently have, and hopefully build more. Because what I always try to tell them, like I said in the beginning, this is anchored in muscle. It is the muscle that's going to burn the calories. It's the muscle that's going to help you get lean and stay lean. So what are your thoughts on a good training program? Where should their basis be?
Yeah. So I wrote about this in the book, and I put a beginner and intermediate, and I talked about advanced training in there as well. And, a beginner, I like to see that person train at least three times a week to start off. Maybe they do upper body one day, lower body the next, upper body again, and then the next week they start over and they do lower twice and upper. So at least 3 days a week. The more someone trains with weights, the better the results are going to be. So I have no problem at all with taking a beginner and having them train 5 days a week to get them started. There's all kinds of good training programs. Like I said, the book has them. Right. People can Google these right now. Like, you can go to all these different websites. MyTransformationStartsToday.com
awesome
has
website.
Every single kind of a workout for every single person that we're talking about. The book that I wrote when I sat down with Sal, it was his idea, is literally a companion to the transformation contest. So my workouts are a little different than what's on the site, but the site has some great workouts. So, I mean, if someone wants free workouts, just go to My Transformation Starts Today.
I take this. I think a lot of our guys, and I have to tell them this all the time. Look, I think for a lot of them, it's the photos and this and that. Look, there's only like 4 people that ever see those photos unless you share them out. But there's, like I try to tell them, that website is everything you could ever need if you want to lose fat, build muscle, improve your wellness. It's all there. It's packed in there. And I think when we're talking about training, I mean, we are saying the foundation is resistance training, weight training to support muscle, build muscle. But that also comes down to, just like you were talking about, your diet strategy. At the end of the day, is what can you stick to? You can't hate it. It can't be some form of hell. Curling a milk jug is resistance training, but you can't just hate it. So it has to be something that you enjoy. You have to get some time. It's going to be hard fucking work, but you can't hate it. You have to get there.
Right.
If you don't stick to your program, you never get anywhere.
I've got a guy that just started off. His name's Jason Wells, and he's actually finishing up. This guy's lost 150 pounds this year, and he trains 7 days a week. He's like, hey, can I train 7? So I put him together a workout split for 7 days a week, and he's done nothing but get way leaner. Obviously, he lost 150 pounds, but that guy's put on so much muscle. Like, people need to not be scared of training too much. Exactly. It's heavy training too often that starts to suppress people's central nervous system, make them feel like shit. So for most people just starting out, train 5 days a week, train 6. If you feel good, do some kind of exercise 7 days a week. You just have to watch your body and see how you feel.
Especially if you're especially if you're that type of person that really enjoys it. And if you're a creature of habit, if you need structure and it's going to help you stay motivated and stay after it, to train that often by getting in the gym and seeing the people, maybe you're training with a friend, then go for it. But you know, you do have to watch for the signs of beginning to have CNS fatigue. You know, in general, I tell people if you know that you're getting your food in, if you know you're getting sleep, but you're just tired, then you may have an issue. I mean, if you're just physically tired for no other reasonable reason, if you know you've gotten your sleep and you're still just wiped out, and your strength starts to lower, you know, if you start seeing decreases in strength, you may have an issue.
Yeah, and a lot of people they'll lose motivation for the gym. Best thing they can do is just take 3 or 4 or 5 days off.
Exactly.
Just take some time off, because their body's actually going to heal up from all that training. They're going to feel better. The only other thing that people have to watch out for, and I won't touch on this very long, is if they do a little bit too much of this, right?
There you go. Or, you know what? They may even see the scale go down if they just take a few days off. If they've had a stall and they're in a position where maybe they've been training too much and they've got some inflammation going on, maybe they've got some stress in their life. I know one of the guys that I've been working with, he dropped 42 pounds in my last 30-day transformation challenge.
Dude, that's awesome, man. And that is what's his name?
His name's Johnny Parkes.
Does he watch this?
He will be watching. He'll be listening. He's in our private Facebook group. He's also in a My Transformation Starts Today challenge.
Dude, that's awesome.
Man, I appreciate it. I was so proud of him. He lost 42 pounds. I was talking to him today, and you know, he works offshore, ocean going, and he had been on the boat for 50 something days. And I was talking to him today, and he actually gained back about 6 pounds. And I was, look, don't worry about it. You know, you've been under a hell of a lot of stress. You haven't been getting any sleep. Stay on your nutrition. Keep the same plan, and let's get some sleep. You're home with the family, with the wife, the kids. There's going to be no stress. And watch, I almost want to bet a paycheck that that weight is going to come off the scale. If not all of it, maybe even 10 pounds in the next week to 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Dropping cortisol, man, it's huge. People's bodies get so stressed that you actually take some time off and get more sleep, and your body it lets go of a shit ton of water. I mean, it's plus all the inflammation from training and stuff like that. So time off is a good thing.
Oh yeah. Now we're talking about training now, and I know that you're going to get into this too, because I know Leslie trains hard. Now talk about for the ladies. Are we recommending the same for the ladies? Because you know I've got a wife. I've got a wife over here in the house that she trains with me. She lifts weights with me, and a lot of times the ladies are so afraid to lift weights.
Yeah. So here's the thing. My fiance Leslie is. Man, I think she just jumped in the shower. I just bring her in here just so people can see her.
She's like a record holding power lifter, isn't she?
She has broke multiple. I mean, she squats like 385 pounds. She deadlifts 385, benches 185, and she weighs 125 pounds. She's as females get. Now, she has muscle. She looks kind of like a CrossFit athlete. She does a lot of CrossFit now, what your stereotypical CrossFit athlete would look like. And she's a professional figure competitor, so she's jacked, but she's not masculine. She's like, I don't know of a lot of females that wouldn't want to look like her. Right. So, and this has taken 15 years of training her ass off like that to look like she does. We're just telling people, listen, just train with machines, use some free weights, use the cables, do stuff like that, body weight exercises, circuit training, like kettlebell swings, all that stuff is fine. You're not going to just get jacked.
You're not going to turn into a man because you start lifting weights.
It's not going to happen. There's very few genetically elite females that have that ability, and you're talking about 0.5% of the population walking the earth. So females, don't worry about that. Trust me, there are a lot of females that want to get jacked that spend 20 years training, and they still don't look jacked because it's just too damn hard. You don't have the testosterone in your body to do it.
Exactly. That's what I always tell them. If you're not, you don't have the testosterone levels of a man, you're not going to look like a man.
Right.
You can hit the weights, and that's what you should do. If what you're wanting to do is get that beach body, that bikini body, fit into those pants, you need to start hitting the weights if you want to get leaner. That's what I tell
girls want to have curves. They want to look lean. Like they see a lot of girls on Instagram. Exactly. Those girls train their asses off, and they still look very feminine. So like, don't worry about that. I promise you.
All right, man. So we've covered so much. Now we would be remiss if we didn't at least touch on cardio. Now I'm sure that a lot of our guys, I tell them they'll ask about HIIT. It never fails. They'll ask about HIIT, and I think HIIT is an amazing tool. The problem that we have with these guys is a lot of them, the illness is. And that's why I'm trying to help them so much. Diabetes is epidemic. High blood pressure is epidemic. Adrenal fatigue is epidemic. And a lot of these guys have bad knees, bad backs, and the whole 9 yards. So I don't typically recommend HIIT straight out of the gate for those guys, although it can be a very effective tool. But like I always tell them, don't overdo that cardio. It is a tool. Okay. It should complement your weight training. Now, I wanted to definitely get your thoughts on that.
Yeah. So, steady state cardio, that's something that if you haven't been doing any, don't start off and just be like, I'm going gung-ho, I'm going an hour. Do 10 minutes. Like I just started dieting a little bit just for my health, get my weight down a little. Mm-hmm. I wasn't doing any cardio at all. I'm doing 10 minutes a day riding the bike because my body's not used to cardio. So if I do 10 minutes a day, I'm going to respond to that. I'm going to get a little bit of fat loss. But if I went and did an hour a day with steady state, the bad thing about that is, think about walking, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're going to go walk for an hour, your body adapts to that so soon that you start to lose the fat loss effects after a few weeks of doing an hour of cardio. So where are you going to go from there? An hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours? It's better to start in small increments. Now on the HIIT cardio, what you said was spot on. If somebody has an injury, you have to be careful. HIIT cardio is things like swimming, like super fast. Go swim all the way down as fast as you can, rest, turn around and go. Sprints, pulling a sled, flipping a tire, ball slams, like all that kind of stuff. HIIT cardio. Someone can just Google it and look it up if they're not sure what it is. That's more of like an extension of weight training. So if someone has an injury, they have to be careful. But if someone has bad knees, then try doing the battle ropes instead. You know what I mean? Battle ropes are great.
Ropes all over the place.
I was gonna say, you guys have plenty of that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. I just hosted and sponsored line handling competitions over in New Orleans not too long ago. We have some ropes. We got heavy ropes, plenty of that.
Yeah. So like you just have to find what you can work with. But with HIIT, I like to start people on 2 HIIT a week. That's it. Maybe 5 total intervals after you work out. And if you want to know what HIIT looks like, just Google. You can Google me, Team Gorman, HIIT, and I've got a bunch of how-to videos up there to show you guys how to do it.
And the concern with a steady state is that if they start off with too much, before you know it, just like you said, they're going to have to do more. And then they're going to continually have to do more to get results. They're going to get some results. They're going to get some fat loss, and then they're going to stall. And then maybe going to have to do more. And then you'll have to maintain that level of cardio indefinitely in order to keep that weight off. If that's the number one thing that you're using, and it can also have a negative effect if you begin to where you get to be doing too much cardio.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it provokes a lot of cortisol, right? If chronically high steady state cardio, like jogging, think of someone just jogging, I'm going to go jog 5 miles every single day. It causes a lot of muscle damage, first of all, in the legs, which slows your metabolism down when you lose muscle, but it chronically elevates cortisol. One thing that happens in the body that people don't understand is when cortisol is high in the body constantly, you actually secrete less thyroid hormone. I'm pointing to my thyroid, right? You secrete less thyroid hormone, which slows your metabolism. So things like running and jogging a lot all the time can actually work to slow your metabolism down.
Right. Well, John, I tell you what, man, we're up to about 45 minutes. I think maybe have I kept you long enough? Have I took up too much of your time? I know we need to clean house here. We need to tell everybody where they can find you, all your channels, where can they find your books? I'm going to put pictures of them up on the video. Your websites, just go plug away, man. I want to promote your stuff as much as possible. I love all your work. And I think you got some other stuff you've been working on for a while, I think, in the works. You got some videos or maybe another book hiding out somewhere?
Yeah. So right now it's actually in the other room. I'm in my home office. I just got the very first, I'll tell everybody. Fuck it. It's not out yet.
It's up to you.
I've got a DVD coming out. So what it is
awesome.
Called Elite Physique University. And it's actually my PowerPoint presentations of me presenting a PowerPoint presentation over things like cheat meals versus refeeds, HIIT cardio versus steady state cardio, advanced muscle building tactics, like all this different stuff that I talk about, how to be a successful fitness entrepreneur. And DVD 1 is going to be due out in January, and then I'm going to have 2 more following it after. So it's my very first DVD. I do have Advanced Ketogenic Dieting, the book, in the works, but I'm kind of burnt out on writing. So the next book will either be Advanced Ketogenic Dieting or Ask a Diet Coach. So I've got my hands on a lot of shit.
Yeah, I like the Ask the Diet Coach series you do on your YouTube channel. I can't wait to get that Advanced Ketogenic Dieting. I love the PowerPoint that you did on it. I use that often because keto works. I mean, there's no doubt it works, but I think a lot of times people in general population only catch on to the hype of it, and they try to do it on their own, very misinformed, and end up because they think all that means is just cutting your carbs.
Right. Keto is like, if you ever want to do a podcast on keto, let's do it, because I love talking about keto and helping people understand the right way. I would love to have you on any damn time you want to fucking come on. We'll have you on, man, dude. For sure.
But definitely give us all your contacts, where they can find you, where they can follow you at. Give us all of it, because you damn sure know it better than I. I have a hard time putting mine out at the end of the videos.
No, I feel it. Guys, the easiest way, if you ever have a question, you want to hit me up with a question, I'm very approachable. I just love to help people. So just find me on Instagram. That's the easiest way, because Facebook's a bitch. I can't get to the messages there, but Instagram, it's a little bit easier. So it's just at @team_Gorman. Just add me there. If you have a question, send me a question. I'm glad to help you. I do a question of the day. So on my Instagram stories, I do a question of the day. I'm going to be hitting those hard starting in January again. But people send me questions all the time like, hey, John, how much fiber should I have on my keto diet? And I'll use that as a question of the day. And I literally have a small series of videos on Instagram stories. So Instagram's the best way to get a hold of me right now. I'm not worried about my other stuff. You guys you'll see it on my Instagram page.
Where can they find your books at? Where can they pick your books up at? I know they can get
Amazon.
Amazon, the best place?
Amazon, they'll print it as soon as someone orders it. It's the Flexible Fat Loss Solution is book 2, and Reverse Dieting and Metabolic Capacity is book number 1. Just look up John Gorman Flexible Fat Loss on Amazon, and it'll take you to my page, and they can just order it there.
Well, I tell you what, I got one more question for you. This is kind of just a special favor for me, because I know I emailed you a question one time for the other podcast, and you get hundreds of thousands of questions. So, and I believe what it was I was asking you about, I haven't gotten too much more in depth. What are your thoughts on the metabolic typing or the metabolic dieting? What are your thoughts on that? What they're talking about is where you were born, what region were you born, what type of foods are grown there, and the whole 9 yards. Or you think it's complete bullshit?
Yeah, I think, things like that, blood type dieting and things of that nature. Dieting is dude, dieting is an art form.
Right.
Because if dieting were easy, we'd all be able to do it and we'd be good to go. Everybody would be a diet coach. Like the reason why I've gotten pretty decent at what I do is because I understand it's an art form and I have to figure each person out. And that's actually fun and a challenge to me. So things like the blood type dieting and everything that you're talking about, it goes out the window because everybody's body gets used to what they've been doing for years. I don't think we're all born with good genetics, shit genetics, average genetics. We all have different insulin sensitivities. I suck eating carbs, but I'm great with the ketogenic dieting.
Right.
You may be better with carbs, and you may feel like shit on a ketogenic diet. We don't know, right?
I believe that would be the case. I seem to do really, really well on a lot of carbs. But I try to tell everybody, you have to learn your body. You have to pay attention, learn your body. There's certain carbs that don't agree with me. I may like sweet potatoes, but they damn sure don't like me. You know.
But this to me, this is the punchline. This is the key to everything. Even if that stuff mattered, even if we had the perfect blueprint for the perfect fucking diet, if you can't stick to it, throw it out the window. That's exactly the answer to everything. Find what you can stick to. I don't care about anything else. Find what you can stick to. That's gonna get results long term.
Exactly right. Well, all right, John, man, I appreciate it so much you coming on, man.
Thank you, man.
We've kept you up to 50 minutes. You know what? If you want to come back on to talk about ketogenic dieting, whether it be advanced, whether it be for the general population, just the basics, you're welcome on here anytime. So I guess we're gonna get
a hold of me, man.
Hey, there you go. I guess we're gonna get out of here, guys. If you want to ask me any questions, you can reach me at anchoredinmuscle@gmail.com. The Muscle Captain on Instagram. On Facebook, like my wife Brandy likes to say all the time, send him a smoke signal, text message. He's going to answer 24 hours a day. It's 2 a.m. I'm waking up to go to catch a boat. I've got text messages and I'm just replying at 2 a.m. and I'm telling him, look, you better have your shit set to silent because I'm replying. So, all right, guys, we're going to get out of here later.